Okay, for this video, we are going to review the quiz that you took last week. And I gave you several situations and asked you to respond to them using modals as we did on the practice exercises. So you needed to use, for some of them, you needed to use a modal in the present future, and some of them you needed to use a past modal, and some of them you could choose. So the first sentence says, Cheyenne didn't pass the driving test. So for a present future response, you could write something like, Cheyenne must be upset, or Cheyenne may need a driving coach, or Cheyenne should study more before her next test. Anything like that. And for the past, you could write something like, Cheyenne should have practiced more, or Cheyenne should have rested more the night before the test, something like that. There are a lot of different answers, but that's an example of a couple possibilities. What is not correct is to restate the situation that I gave you. For instance, it is not correct to write, Cheyenne couldn't pass the driving test. I told you in class that I did not want you to repeat the situation, so that would not work for any of these. Number 2 says, Lori ran out of her house calling for help. Again, you can use your imagination and come up with a lot of different possibilities for what the situation was. You could write, for instance, Lori may have seen a ghost, or Lori's house could have been on fire, or Lori could have heard strange noises, or she might have heard strange noises, or she must have seen a rat, anything like that. You could use a modal in the past. That would probably be the most likely since the original situation was in the past tense. We can talk about other possibilities in class, but those are a few examples. For number 3, Benson got a ticket for driving while intoxicated. So for the present future sentences, you could write something like, Benson might have a drinking problem, or Benson has to be upset with himself. And for the past, you could write something like, Benson could have killed somebody, or Benson could have injured himself, Benson could have wrecked his car, any number of things like that. For number 4, Albert has blood streaming down his leg. You could write a response in the present, future, or in the past, whichever you prefer. Albert had better go to the hospital. Albert must have cut his leg. Albert could have had an accident, something like that. For number 5, Suzanne is standing in a cemetery looking down at a tombstone. Suzanne may have a loved one buried there. Or Suzanne may be visiting someone she knew. Anything like that would be fine. Number 6, Lauren got fired for being late. In the present future, you could write something like, Lauren ought to be more organized, or Lauren had better be more careful at her next job. And in the past, again, similar to the example with Benson, you could write something like, Lauren must have been upset. Lauren had to have been upset. Something like that would be good. I'm going to turn over to the back. And number 7 in this part of the quiz, Joe stayed out late partying and lost his tennis match the next day. Present, future. Joe had better take his tennis matches more seriously the next time. And then in the past, Joe's coach must have been very angry. All right, so part B, we're going to fill in the blanks with an appropriate modal. I would suggest when you do this, you read through the entire paragraph first to get an idea of, get a sense of what the situation is before you put any answers in. Again, there might be more than one possible answer for each blank. I'm going to give you one answer and we can discuss other possibilities in class. So, when Jacob woke up this morning, he knew he shouldn't have argued with his girlfriend yesterday. He feels really bad. Jacob thinks she must be really angry. He knows he could call her, but he is worried that she might hang up on him. Jacob had better go over to our apartment. Then he'll be able to apologize in person. He ought to hurry up because she could be getting more and more upset. Jacob wishes he could go back in time and do yesterday all over again. So those are some possibilities. Again, we can talk about other possibilities in class. And now for the editing. There are just 5 errors in these sentences. So I'll read through and point out the errors. Julie must to go to the laundromat this afternoon because her washing machine broke. In this first sentence, we really just need to delete the to between must and go. Julie must go to the laundromat this afternoon. She have to remember to go to the bank first to get a roll of quarters for the machines. She has to remember. She is third person singular, which is has, H-A-S. Okay. 2 months ago, she went to the laundromat with her boyfriend Tom, and he got angry at her because she forgot to bring change. Sometimes Tom must be a real jerk. In this sentence, sometimes Tom can be a real jerk. It would be a better answer. If he behaves like that in the future, she might breaking up with him. It should be she might break up with him. You need to delete the ing at the end of break. Finally, usually while Julie waits for her clothes to wash and dry, she goes to the deli at the corner where she can be able to get a delicious turkey sandwich. You probably remember what I told you in class last week. You cannot use can or could plus be able at the same time. It's redundant. So in this case, you need to take out either can or the be able. So you could write where she can get a delicious turkey sandwich or where she is able to get a delicious turkey sandwich. So those are the 5 errors in the editing. And as I said, we'll go over other possibilities in class, but if you think you had problems with any part of this, I would review that carefully before Thursday's class so that you can get back on track. It's only about 2 weeks until we have a midterm exam, and although we're behind, we have to catch up. So if you have questions, be ready to ask them on Thursday.